So hi friends, we are starting with Materia Medica chanting sessions from now. So what you will require is that you have to take your Alinsky notes with you, and you have to take your pen, pencil or any highlighter to add or highlight the important points, and we will start now. So the basic rule of this is that whatever you study in these sessions at night before going to sleep, you have to once just glance your Alinsky note or what you have done in that day. So we'll start now. So now Abrotanum. The common name for Abrotanum is southernwood. This you have to remember. This can come as a MCQ. Whereas the family is Compositae. So in your notebook, just keep a separate notebook. In that, just write Compositae and below that write Abrotanum. So these two things are done. Now coming to the constitution of Abrotanum, there is marasmus of children with marked emaciation, especially of legs. So the MCQ that you have to remember is emaciation, especially of the legs. This is Abrotanum. Emaciation legs, Abrotanum. Now they are asking you to compare iodum, sanicula and tuberculinum. So now I want you to go to page 155 of your Alinsky note and go to iodum. So now if you go to page 155, so now in this page you have to write the page here. Towards here you have to write the page number of the Abrotanum, so that when you later come to iodum, you go back to Abrotanum and just see that line. So what does they say? That persons of scrofulous diathesis, scrofulous that is lymph node, dark or black hair and eyes, a low cachectic condition. So the emaciation talking about iodum is having with profound debility and great emaciation. So there is a debility with emaciation. This you have to remember for iodium. Whereas Abrotanum has emaciation of the lower legs. But the main point of iodum emaciation is ravenous hunger. Eats freely and well, yet loses flesh all the time. So iodum patient eats a lot, but then also is losing flesh. So that is regarding the emaciation of iodum. So here also write the page number of Abrotanum, so that later you go back to it. Now I want you to go back to Abrotanum. When you come back to Abrotanum, now even here near iodum write page number 155. Okay. So now we have to compare sanicula, the emaciation of sanicula. We'll go to sanicula. So open page number 270 from your Alinsky note. Come to sanicula. Now just because you have visited sanicula, I want you to just remember sanicula common name is mineral spring water, whereas the common name for Abrotanum was southernwood. So this way you have to keep revising. Now sanicula. The emaciation is progressive. This is a key point. How is the emaciation progressive? Child looks old, dirty, greasy and brownish. So sanicula, just remember the child is dirty looking and the emaciation is progressive. The skin about the neck is wrinkled, hangs in folds. So Abrotanum, there was a emaciation legs, iodum eating well, but then also emaciation, sanicula, dirty looking, emaciation progressive, it's continuously progressing, and the emaciation is more around the neck, it hangs in folds. That is sanicula, neck, sanicula, legs, Abrotanum, iodum eating well, losing flesh, and having a ravenous appetite, iodum. Here also I want you to write the page numbers of iodum, that is 155, write the page number of Abrotanum here, write it here, so that later you can go back. The third drug that Abrotanum told you to compare the emaciation was tuberculinum. So go to page 317 of your Alinsky note. Now tuberculinum, if you go to the physical generals part, here you get emaciation is rapid and pronounced. So the emaciation of sanicula was progressive, whereas tuberculinum is a tubercular, rapid and pronounced, losing flesh while eating well, which is also then iodum, it's then others also. So here also I expect you to write the page numbers of Abrotanum, write the page number of iodum, that is 155. Sanicula also you can write. So, and here in Abrotanum page, write the page number of tuberculinum, that is 317. So while revision, you will turn back your keynotes to that page. So tuberculum done, emaciation rapid and pronounced, losing flesh while eating well. Once you're done with tuberculum, now we have to go back to Abrotanum because we have finished all the comparison that were there in that bracket. So far, good. You have compared 3 drugs. In Abrotanum, the skin is flabby and hangs loose in folds. Okay. So this is just talking about skin in general, whereas Sanicula hanging in folds of neck was what you read in Sanicula, but now they are also telling Natrum. So I want you to write the page number of Natrum also, that is 213, and now go to Natrum. If you go to Natrum, here we come to the page number of Natrum. So yeah, so there is a great emaciation, okay. So nothing rocket science in this. Emaciation is okay. Keyword, losing flesh while living well. So now other remedies had losing flesh while eating well, but now Alan Keynote is telling losing flesh while living well. So that living word is come in Natrum. But again, if such a MCQ comes, then Abrotanum Iodium was also that living well thing. Now, throat and neck of children emaciate rapidly during summer complaint. Very, very important. So, highlight these things, because when you revise, you have to just revise the highlights, not the whole sentence. So, there is a emaciation of the throat, neck during summer complaints. So, that is Natrum. Emaciation of the throat, neck during summer complaints. But neck hanging in folds, Sanicula. Sanicula emaciation was progressive. Tuberculinum emaciation was rapid and pronounced. Iodium was emaciation of the, means eating well, losing flesh well with great appetite, and a profound debility with that emaciation. And Abrotanum emaciation or marasmus of the legs. So this is all the comparative understanding, and because in MCQ they'll give you all these options only with marasmus and emaciation, then difficult to understand. I want you to write the page number of Abrotanum here, page number of Iodium, that is 155. I want you to write the page number of Sanicula, that is 270, so that we come back to these things later when we revisit this drug. I want you to go back to Abrotanum now. When you come to Abrotanum, we go ahead now. The child is ill-natured, irritable, cross and despondent, violent, inhuman, would like to do something cruel. So, would like to do something cruel is Abrotanum. Sanicula was a dirty looking child. Abrotanum is having a dirty nature. Remember this. Again, Abrotanum has a ravenous hunger, losing flesh while eating well. It is common to all these remedies that we just studied: tuberculinum, Iodium, Natrum, Sanicula. Now, the marasmus is such a condition where in Abrotanum the head is weak and cannot hold it up. So Abrotanum is so weak in marasmus that he cannot hold his head up, which is a very important symptom. They are asking us to compare with Ethusa, so I request you to go to Ethusa. Once you see the page number in your Allen's keynote, do write it as a reference near that symptom in Abrotanum. Come to Ethusa. Now write the page number of Abrotanum here. Write it here. So what are they saying in Ethusa? Great weakness. Okay, understood. Children cannot stand up. Now you can see the semicolon here. Now this can be one MCQ. Great weakness, children cannot stand up. Second MCQ can be great weakness, unable to hold up the head, and then they are comparing Abrotanum. So Abrotanum, there is marasmus, and that's why he cannot hold up the head. And then in Ethusa, children cannot stand and unable to hold up the head because of great weakness. Then third MCQ can be great weakness with prostration with sleepiness. So all these semicolon things now, something before that and after that is another statement only. So you have 3 statements. One is great weakness, child cannot stand up. Great weakness, unable to hold up the head. Great weakness with prostration and sleepiness. And the fourth statement is great weakness after vomiting, after stool, after spasm. Very important. Ethusa spasms. So great weakness after vomiting, after stool, after spasm, Ethusa. So write the page number of Abrotanum here, and towards there in Abrotanum page write the page number of Ethusa, so that you compare this weakness. I hope you have understood the weakness of this Ethusa part. Important for MCQ is great weakness, unable to hold up the head, great weakness with prostration with sleepiness, and great weakness especially after spasm. This can come as a MCQ. So in the exam, they can directly give you great weakness after spasm. What is the remedy? It is Ethusa. So this way you have to study and consider the semicolons. Now come back to Abrotanum. Now they want to discuss the face of Abrotanum, where he's saying the face is old, pale, wrinkled. Okay, so obviously marasmus has wrinkle, but now even the face of the child looks old, pale, wrinkled. Fine. Asking to compare with opium, so I want you to go to opium. And I won't keep repeating this. Now you have to understand that you have to write the page number, okay? Wherever relevant. Opium. So this is opium. So what opium marasmus is telling? Marasmus, child with wrinkled skin. Okay, this is a common symptom. Looks like a dried up old man. So this is opium. Write the page number of Abrotanum here. So opium looks up like a dried old man, whereas face of Abrotanum looks old, but looks like a little dried up old man is opium. We'll go back to now Abrotanum once you have done this comparison. So Abrotanum, now there are few alternating states. We'll understand that of Abrotanum. There's alternate constipation, diarrhea, and lienteria, means undigested food particles that is present. So that is Abrotanum. So painful contraction of limbs from cramps or following colic. Next symptom, painful contraction of limbs from cramps or following colic. So this is very, very important for MCQ, because you won't see, usually you study Abrotanum for this emaciation only, you remember, but this you may not remember. So they can give you the MCQ, painful contraction of limbs from cramps or following colic. So they can give clinical case scenario also, that first there was colic and then there was painful contraction of limbs. Answer is Abrotanum. So this patient is getting the contraction of limbs which is painful from the cramps or following colic. Now rheumatism of Abrotanum, important to understand. The rheumatism, first symptom. For the excessive pain before swelling commences is one MCQ, means there's a lot of pain before swelling. Rheumatism, second MCQ, and very important, rheumatism from suddenly checked diarrhea or other secretions. So if there is diarrhea or other secretion and you suppress it or you check it, from suddenly checked diarrhea or other secretions is Abrotanum. And rheumatism alternates with hemorrhoids is Abrotanum. So there is alternating symptoms in Abrotanum. Constipation alternating diarrhea, Abrotanum. Rheumatism alternating with hemorrhoids is Abrotanum. And rheumatism with dysentery this is another symptom. So third symptom was this, and fourth symptom was rheumatism with dysentery. So first symptom rheumatism, excessive pain before swelling, that is first. Second is rheumatism from suddenly checked diarrhea or other secretions. Third is rheumatism alternates with hemorrhoids, and fourth is rheumatism with dysentery. So this is about Abrotanum. There is the next page also Abrotanum, but so far so much about Abrotanum. So I want you to focus on this rheumatism part, extremity symptoms of Abrotanum. Okay, so constipation, diarrhea alternates, and rheumatism from suddenly checked diarrhea or other secretions. So just try to remember these things. Now we're just chanting it and reading, but what your work is that you will not remember like this. You have to daily read it. For example, before sleeping, you have to just fast glance over it, and wherever page numbers you have written, go back and refer it and then sleep. If you don't revise before sleeping, then don't forget about AIAPGET, because 16 to 17 questions do come from Mathematica and you require this effort. Okay, so now we'll go to the next page of Abrotanum. Okay. Gout. Joints are stiff, swollen. Okay, fine, common symptom. Gout with pricking sensation is important one. Wrists and ankle joints painful and inflamed. So gout usually small joints, and wrist ankle is important for abrotanum, but very important is the pricking sensation. Remember that. Rheumatism, you know. Very lame and sore all over. Marasmus of lower extremities only. Now this you can easily answer if such thing comes. You know it's abrotanum. Now fever of abrotanum. There is great weakness in fever. There is a great prostration. So there was a lot of prostration, profound debility in the marasmus of iodium, but now in fever of abrotanum there is great weakness and prostration and a kind of hectic fever. So hectic fever is what, like, you know, something that is temperature is swinging a lot. That is hectic fever. So key words in this is of fever of abrotanum is weakness, okay, prostration, hectic fever, the temperatures are swinging, and children again unable to stand. So abrotanum, they are not able to hold themselves as. So head, they could not hold their head. Then we went to Ethusa, also not able to stand was we saw in Ethusa, but the not able to stand in Ethusa was other complaints. Whereas here unable to stand in fever. So I want you to write the page number of Ethusa here and go back to Ethusa. Just go back to Ethusa, just see the weakness. Because if you compare, then only you'll understand. So there's great weakness. Children cannot stand. Okay, even abrotanum children is not standing during fever. Unable to hold up the head. Even abrotanum in marasmus not able to hold up the head. Great weakness, prostration with great weakness with sleepiness was not there in abrotanum, but great weakness with sleepiness is there in Ethusa. Great weakness after vomiting, after stool, after spasm. Great weakness after spasm, Ethusa. Now we have come to this page, so I am also going to revise the common name of Ethusa is fool's parsley and belongs to the family Umbelliferae. So you can write now in your page family Umbelliferae, below that Ethusa, and composite was abrotanum. Now because you are seeing the common name of Ethusa, that is fool's parsley, just try to imagine what was the common name of abrotanum. It was southernwood. Imagine abrotanum as your friend who's come from the south and who comes from an area that has a lot of wood, southern wood. Forget it. And imagine Ethusa is your one friend who's, you should not say like that, but it's a fool. So fool's parsley. So you have to just try and find ways to remember these things. Now, the next symptom of abrotanum is skin itching, chilblains. Very common symptom, but they have given agaricus, muscaricus in the bracket. So you have to now go to agaricus, write the page number of agaricus near this abrotanum symptom. Okay, so this is the last page of agaricus talking about his chilblains. So chilblains that itch and burn intolerably. So there is itching in these chilblains and there is burning intolerably. So far you have understood this. Frostbite and all consequence of exposure to cold, especially in face. So ailments from this chilblains is exposure to cold and especially of the face, and they itch a lot and they burn intolerably. So you have understood this. This is very important. Sensation as if ice touch or ice cold needles were piercing the skin. So this sensation of agaricus is very important. MCQ, ice touched or ice cold needles were piercing the skin, or from hot needles as well. So these needle things of chilblain, think of agaricus, muscaricus. The gout of abrotanum was pricking. Here they are talking about real needles, ice cold needles, ice touched from hot needles. Burning, itching, redness of various parts, ears, nose, face, hands, feet, parts red, swollen. This is a common symptom, so you can forget it. But in these, what to remember, itch, burning, ailments from exposure to cold, especially face, and ice cold needles and hot needles is the characteristic symptom for agaricus, and that is what you have to remember in this agaricus case. Okay, now going ahead, once you have understood this, we have to go back to abrotanum. You can just go back to the abrotanum. Yeah. So now, very important relation. In all your 16 MCQs of AIAPGET, 2 to 3 MCQs will come from this relation part of these drugs. So very important. Abrotanum is used after heparsulfin furuncle. This you have to by heart. And abrotanum is used after aconite and bryonia in pleurisy. After aconite and bryonia in pleurisy. After aconite and bryonia in pleurisy. So two relations: after hepar in furuncle and after aconite and bryonia in pleurisy, when a pressing sensation remains in affected side impeding respiration. So after you have used aconite, bryonia in pleurisy, when there is a pressing sensation at the affected site, then it is abrotanum. And after when you in furuncle, if you give hepar, after hepar it is abrotanum. So this relation you have to remember. Now I'm repeating, before closing down now, I want you to just revise everything, go to the relevant page number. It will take only 1 minute if you do it fast. And also before sleeping you have to revise. Morning when you wake up, also keep your Allen's keynote near you and just revise this thing. Then only you will remember. So next lecture we'll do with acetic acid. Thank you. Do revise.